Hello everyone, Father Jared here, and it's a new week, which means it is time for a new video. So we continue to go through the Gospel according to St. Luke, and we are on Luke chapter 12, verse 13 through 15. That's wild. We've gotten a lot of the way through Luke's Gospel account already. So it's a very short passage. It says, "Someone in the crowd said to him, 'Teacher, tell my brother to share the inheritance with me.' He replied to him, 'Friend, who appointed me as your judge and arbitrator?' Then he said to the crowd, 'Take care to guard against all greed, for though one may be rich, one's life does not consist in possessions. All right, so it's an important reminder to us today from our Lord, speaking in this Gospel according to St. Luke, to guard against all greed, which is very important in today's world, right? And I imagine always, in all times, but especially for us when we live in such a capitalist society and a commercial driven society, right? To not to base our life on what we have or the things that we want, but instead who we are and who God has made us to be and who he has called us to become. So I think that's important for us today, to not just measure our lives in terms of earthly wealth, earthly happiness, but to truly seek to be who God is calling us to be. Especially since we are his sheep, he is our shepherd. We should be following him closely as he calls us to. So that being said, let's move on to some good news. So today, this week, we have some good news. 3 things. Number 1, tomorrow, Tuesday, we have our seminarian, Christian Flick, who will be arriving on campus. And he will be our seminarian for this year. He's assigned to us. And by this year, I mean the next few weeks. So I believe it's until the beginning of July he'll be with us. Since I am gone for most of July, he will be gone most of July as well. So I had him come early so he can spend maximum amount of time with you and with me. So it's going to be great. Can't wait to greet him. That is Christian Flick, our seminarian. Number 2, men's club had their golf tournament on Friday. I believe all the teams are already booked up, so there's not even any more availability. But thank you for all of you who have signed up to be sponsors, whole sponsors, and all kinds of other types of sponsors for this tournament. It's always a good time. I am in charge of driving around the beverages. That's my job. So I will be doing that on Friday. It's going to be a good time. That's number 2. So number 3, don't forget, we have Fire Night this Sunday at 5 p.m. We are going to be talking all about holy orders. How appropriate that we have a new Holy Father, that we're talking about holy orders. It's going to be great. So join us at 5 p.m. this Sunday for our Fire Night. It'll be awesome. Can't wait to see you there. And now, lastly, the last part. So we had our St. Luke Gospel passage. We had our good news. And now, a little tiny teaching moment. I thought I would take advantage of this moment to talk about Pope Leo XIV specifically. And I wanted to just give a little bit of detail about his Sunday homily, right? So this past Sunday, he gave his first Sunday homily as our Holy Father. And there are 3 things I think that are really cool that he said. Number 1, he was talking about Mother's Day. He said, one of the most wonderful expressions of the love of God is the love that is poured out by mothers, especially to their children and grandchildren. How awesome is that, right? He's talking about the most wonderful expression of love, which comes forth from mothers, pouring out their love to their children and grandchildren. I think that's awesome. Number 2, he talked about vocations. He said, all of us must search together. I think that's really awesomely worded. All of us must search together, first and foremost, by giving a good example in our lives with joy, living the joy of the gospel, not discouraging others, but rather looking for ways to encourage young people to hear the voice of the Lord and to follow it and to serve in the church. So how are you, how am I, how are all of us searching for ways in which we can invite all people, but especially the young, to further participate, further love the Lord and the church that he is calling them to serve? And lastly, he talked about the power of listening. He said, listening is what allows us to enter into true dialogue. And he called it really the foundation for building bridges. He said, we have to know how to listen, not to judge, not to shut doors as if we hold all the truth and no one else has anything to offer. But instead, we must learn how to listen, because from that comes greater clarity about what the Lord is calling us to do, where he is calling us to go. Right? So listening. All kinds of good things coming forth from this Holy Father, and so soon, right? We're learning a lot about him in just a little bit of time. But may we continue to join in praying for him, praying that he might become and be the shepherd that we need him to be, not just the one that we want him to be. Hope you have a great week, and I will see you this Sunday. Make good choices.